These are my assembly instructions to my Easter egg treat box. There are 8 panels that form the top of my Easter egg and the bottom of my Easter egg. So the top panels are longer and the bottom panels are shorter. I'm folding along that first score line along the bottom for my bottom tab and that lone side tab on the left. And then I'm folding down on all those little tiny tabs on my curved side, and then I'm taking my bone folder, you can use a ruler here, and I'm just running my bone folder along the edge of my piece, trying to smooth out those little points between all those little tabs, like so. And I'm going to do that for all 8 of my bottom pieces and all 8 of my top pieces as well. So next I have these 2 pieces, octagons with score lines around the perimeter to form tabs, and I'm just folding down on those tabs. And then I have these 2 long identical strips, and there are 4 score lines. I'm just folding down on all 4 of those score lines. And I'm doing that for both pieces. So now that I've folded down on all the score lines, I'm going to decorate my pieces. So I'm putting glue on the underside of my long decorative pieces, and I'm trying to center them as best I can around the score lines and the edges of the piece, like so. I'm going to do the same thing for my shorter pieces. I'm just putting glue on the underside of my decorative piece and applying it to the top portion, trying to center it between the score lines and the edges. And I'm doing the same thing for my octagon piece, putting glue on the underside and gluing it to the center. And then I have my long strip. I'm putting glue on the side tab and joining my pieces. The cut end of the piece on my right is right along the score line of the tab for the piece on my left. And then I'm going to take the decorative panels for it. I'm putting glue on the underside of each one and then just gluing them each in their section. I have 4 octagon rings. They're identical. I'm going to take one of them. I'm going to start with the 8 longer pieces of my egg. So this would be the top pieces. I'm putting glue on the bottom tab of one of them. And then I'm taking my octagon ring. I'm adhering one of the 8 sides of my octagon to the score line on my tab, like so. So next I'm going to take a second panel and I'm going to do the same thing. And I'm also going to put glue on the 3 first side tabs, so those little tiny tabs. And I'm also going to put glue on that lone tab that's on the right hand side of my previous panel. I'm gluing my next piece to the next straight edge of my octagon. I'm tucking that lower tab underneath, and those 3 little tabs are going to be adhered to the panel that's on my left. So next I'm going to put glue on the 3 or 4 tabs at the top, and then I'm gluing my pieces so that the piece that's on my left is following the score line of the tabs of the piece that's on my right, and I want my pieces to be exactly even at the top. Then I'm flipping my piece over so that I'm looking at the inside, and then I'm putting glue all along the rest of those tiny tabs. And then the cut edge of the piece on my left is following the score line of the tab piece on my right. Next, I'm going to grab another one of those long pieces and I'm going to do the same thing, putting glue on the tab that's on the bottom and the first 3 tabs on the left hand side. I'm putting glue on that lone side tab of the piece I've just glued in, and I'm sliding my piece on the next straight edge of my octagon, tucking my tabs into place and gluing them down. And again, I'm putting glue on the first 3 or 4. For the long pieces I do the 4, for the shorter pieces I do 3 tabs. Again, I'm placing my piece so the tops are nice and even. I'm applying pressure from the inside to make sure that those tabs stay in place. Then I'm flipping my piece over and I'm putting glue on the rest of those tabs and then gluing them in place. And I'm going to continue doing that for all 8 panels. I've glued all my panels in, and now I just have to glue the first panel I glued in to the last panel. It's easier to do it by gluing the tabs from the inside. I'm starting with the side tab and those 3 tabs at the bottom, and I'm just gluing them in. And then I'm adding glue at the 4 tabs at the top. The tops are even and that my panel is right against the score line of those tabs. And then I'm just putting glue on the remainder of those tabs and then just applying pressure to glue those in. So next I have that octagon piece with the tabs. I'm putting glue on all 8 of those tabs. And then I'm lowering my shape into the center of my dome piece. I'm just going to rotate it until the sides match up. I'm putting pressure from the interior and gluing down all 8 of those tabs. So that's the top part of my egg done. I'm going to do the exact same thing for the bottom. So now that I've finished the top and the bottom of my egg, I'm going to line the interior with these panels. So I've got the longer panels that are for the top and the shorter panels for the bottom. So I'm just putting glue on the underside of my panels and just lowering them into the interior of my egg and gluing them down. I'm trying to center them between the score lines. And I also have these octagon pieces. I'm putting glue on the underside of them, going to place those at the bottom of my pieces, trying to center them as best I can. So I'm just going to continue gluing all of my panels down. So next I have my embellishing pieces. I've used white cardstock and pink vinyl to make the egg pieces. And for the basket, I've used pink vinyl with white cardstock. Happy Easter is cut out of blue vinyl. I'm putting glue on the underside of my images. I've already done this for the eggs. And then I'm just gluing the image to my piece of acetate. And next I'm taking some double-sided tape and I'm just covering the back and the front of the 2 tabs on my basket and each of the tabs on my eggs, front and the back. So I'm just applying my tape right below the score line on those tabs. So here's my base piece with the cutouts. I'm going to insert my Happy Easter piece. I'm removing the lining on my double-sided tape and folding my tabs back onto the panel. I'm going to do the exact same thing with the eggs as well. And then I have that partition piece. I'm just folding down on the score line that's at the back that forms the tab. I'm removing the lining on my double-sided tape that's on the bottom of my acetate tabs. I'm spreading glue on the rest of that panel. I've got my image facing left, I've got my tab on the left. I'm going to slip this under my tab so there's an even border all the way around. So next I'm taking the thin strip that I've decorated and I'm taking the top portion of my egg. So I'm putting glue on the lower portion of one of the rectangles that are on the base of my panel. From the end, I'm going to put glue on the underside of the second panel, but just along the edge. And then I'm gluing that rectangle to the edge of my egg, and I want half of it adhered to my egg piece and half of it overlapping. I'm working my way around my egg piece, gluing that piece in. So now I've glued all the way around to that final piece that has the tab on it. I'm putting glue all along the tab and then on the same part of the rectangle as I've been doing all along. And I'm going to glue my tab down and then glue down that final rectangle. So now it's all one continuous piece around the perimeter. And then my egg piece just fits nicely. So next I have those 2 octagon frames and I'm gluing them down just to reinforce the frames that are already there. So I already decorated the partition panel, but I also have another piece in the file. There are little tabs to put a gift card, and I'm putting glue all over the panel, trying to avoid where I see that gift card. I'm going to adhere this to the bottom of my partition panel. Then I'm going to take the bottom of my box. I'm putting glue all over that tab. I'm folding the tab under and then placing my partition piece centered as possible so there's an even border all the way around. And then I'm opening it up and pressing down on the tab to adhere it. So now I'm just going to put the top on my egg like so.